we're going to talk about non-opioid alternative. Right, gentlemen?
Yes, we are.
Okay. You want to introduce yourselves? Because I know you both have, all three of you have kind of long titles. So we'll start here.
My name is Mitch Newman. I'm an attorney, and I'm the head of sales for a company called Medicus.
Okay.
Well, I'm Jonathan Brenner. I'm the CEO of Medicus. And on my other side there is Dr. Brent Dedelich, and also working for Medicus and helping us out on the doctor stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get started. There's an opioid crisis in the United States.
There's an opioid crisis in America
that
is affecting tens of millions of people. People are dying every day. It's costing trillions of dollars in the health and workers' comp industry.
And it's particularly a problem in Florida.
It is
South
particularly a problem in Florida. As a former prosecutor, I can tell you that doctors are having knocks on their door every day from the DEA and FDLE because they're overprescribing. It's causing great problems in the workers' comp industry. The number one cause or driver of work comp cost in the country is opioids.
Oh, is it really? Because people go out on work comp cases and then they're prescribed?
It has two effects. One, it increases the medical cost because there's all kinds of bad things that happen to you. You get addicted, you get high, you have liver damage, you have to go into rehab. You might have to go into rehab 2 or 3 times. But it also prevents you from going back to work, which then not only affects you, it affects your whole family. So the cost to society is trillions of dollars a year.
Mm-hmm. And this product that you have?
It is almost a miracle.
It sounds like it.
It is. And so when I met Jonathan, I trust nothing. I had a double board certified pain doctor look at it and tell me, okay, I'm not a doctor, I'm an idiot. I was a lawyer. So I said, is the science solid? He said, rock solid. So why is it the greatest thing? You can't give opioids to diabetics. You shouldn't give opioids to kids. You shouldn't give opioids to seniors. You're not supposed to give opioids to cardiac patients. Well, you can give our product to all of them. In addition, our product not only acts as a pain reliever, it has an anti-inflammatory effect. So it works like an NSAID, which is like ibuprofen is an NSAID for the folks who don't know. So what we have is something that doesn't work through your liver. So you're not going to damage your liver. You don't have to have a liver test. And it doesn't have a high effect, doesn't have addictive effect, and so people aren't going to steal it.
But does it achieve the same pain relief that an opioid does?
Yes. And how do we know? That's what I had the doctor review because I'm not a doctor. It's called a level 1 study. And a level 1 study is the most difficult study for a drug to pass. We pass with flying colors. So we are effective in reducing pain and inflammation, and we are much less expensive. So I'll give an example.
Okay.
In California, 1 year of opioids, not including the doctor's visits to get the opioids, not including the lab tests that you have to have when you have opioids to check out your liver, is $7,200. Okay.
Wow.
For us, it's $1,080, including the doctor's visits.
Wow.
Because our product is you get 3 shots month 1, and then 1 shot every 3 to 6 months thereafter. And not only can it be used by doctors, guess what? There are 10 million folks who have nerve root procedures done by dentists every year. Dentists,
just happened to me last week.
Dentists, they can combine.
You got any on you? They're still a little sore.
Oh yeah, we'll get you a doctor and juice you up today. Not a problem.
Okay. Wow. So why aren't doctors prescribing this now?
We have doctors in 45 states, so we are growing. The problem is that we have to help educate doctors to see that there's a solution out there. And for the first time, the law is actually helping doctors see to go look for other solutions. Because in Florida in July, they started limiting prescriptions. We were the leader in the country, and that has continued. The federal government has reduced the number of prescriptions that can be written. So now doctors are forced to go look for something. Because unfortunately, natural products, homeopathic products, are not something that doctors have been taught in medical school, so they're having to sort of learn.
Is this a homeopathic product or a medical drug?
Well, it is a medical product. It is FDA permitted. We have NDC numbers, which shows that it's permitted by the FDA because the first 3 numbers from an NDC number come from the FDA. So the FDA has looked at this. We have proof that it's efficacious because we have the level 1 study, and it requires a doctor's prescription.
Okay, so it is.
It is absolutely something that requires a doctor's prescription.
Okay. And how are you going to educate the doctors to prescribe this?
With social media, radio, TV, and reps. We're doing seminar series. You will talk to Dr. Brandt in a little while, and he is the king of seminars and education for the medical community in the United States, one of the top people in the country. And he is hired by doctors to figure out ways to give better services to clients and still stay in business. Because one of the things why this is great, there's a four-legged stool for doctors. The opioid crisis has made it so that they have the opportunity to fix the four-legged stool. Number one leg of the stool is the Hippocratic Oath. Give the best product with the least side effects to the most people at the least cost. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
There isn't anything that comes close to the Trameal Zeal line of products. Number two, doctors have lost a lot of money with Obamacare because the cost of being a doctor has increased. Well, now you have the opportunity, instead of giving a prescription, do hands-on old type of medicine. See the patient. If they need to have an injection, inject them. Number three, doctors need help in marketing, okay? There's a great deal of competition. They don't know how to market because they weren't taught that in medical school. Be the doctor in Boca Raton, Florida, Miami, Florida, New York City to say, I have the solution to raise your hand.
Yeah.
Go out and market and get new patients. And the last thing is I get a call from a friend of mine who is on loan to the DEA. And about every 10 weeks, my first name is Max. He knows me by my first name. We worked at the prosecutor's office under Attorney General Reno. And he calls me up and says, Max, we're kicking in doctors' doors at 5 a.m. Where are we going to breakfast? Doctors have lost that position of being totally revered. And the federal government and regulators are looking at doctors every single day on every opioid prescription that they write.
Right.
So get rid of regulatory nightmare, reduce your stress, and do the right thing for your patient.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, so it's the same efficacy as the opioids?
It is considered efficacious. It will depend on the person, but yes, the level 1 study shows that it reduces pain on the pain scales that doctors use. It is less costly, and it also has the same effect of like an ibuprofen, a prescription level ibuprofen that reduces inflammation. So the combination is just absolutely amazing because it doesn't have the side effects. There are two kinds of side effects that you get when you have opioids and NSAID. You can ruin your liver with both.
Yeah.
You definitely can ruin your liver with an NSAID, and it gets rid of the pain, and you don't have the high or addictive effect.
It sounds miraculous.
It
actually.
is. Actually.
Okay.
But why do we know it works? It has been around for 30 years in 50 countries, and over 50 million people have been treated around the world. So you don't have an opioid crisis in Europe. This is the #1 product used in Europe. The manufacturer is from Europe. The FDA has inspected facility in Europe. They inspect it every 2 years. So there's really zero risk. And we know that it's worked because it's worked all over the world. So it's our opportunity to learn from another country.
What about patients that are already on opioids? They're not going to want to transfer to
actually,
this drug?
Yes, they might.
You think so?
The doctor will have to use whatever he thinks is appropriate to wean someone off opiates, which is not our product. But in that process, you need to deal with the underlying pain. Actually, one of our biggest potential markets is addiction facilities. Why?
Oh, yeah.
Addiction facilities have an 8 to 20% success rate on the first time that someone goes in. One of the reasons that they do not succeed is they don't treat the underlying pain that caused someone to get hooked on opioids in the first place. Well, why do they want to do this? Well, guess what? They're going to increase their success rate. Why is that good? Then they can raise their hand. I am a clinic that doesn't get 20%. I get 25%. Well, that's a significant increase in their success rate. In addition, they have a portion of their local population that is there, and they can give them ongoing treatment after they get out and make additional revenue. So
yeah, I like that. Okay. Yeah. Jonathan.
Yeah.
What can you add to this? I know you know a lot about this product.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is here, we talk about an opioid crisis in the U.S., but remarkably, if you look to Europe, we don't have an opioid crisis there. And one of the main reasons is because people are looking at natural remedies first. And this
you might need to get a little closer to the mic.
And this product is has shown over Mitch said 30, way more than that, 50 years plus, actually, that it has been effective, and we don't deal with these problems in Europe. So it
no
was
opioid
just,
crisis.
there is no opioid crisis there, and there's a reason for it. And now we're just opening these stores here in the U.S. The product is available, and more physicians are just signing up there and trying the treatment.
Okay. I'd like to add one thing.
Yes.
So in 1993, I opened up a very large holistic medical center in Sharon, Pennsylvania, and we started using a Tramiel in 1993 on patients for pain. And it's very ironic because I met Jonathan less than 4 years ago, and we were talking, and I was mentioning about Tramiel and how much I loved it, and it wasn't available in the United States anymore.
Wow.
And in less than 6 months, it was available in the United States again because Dr. Jonathan went to Germany and brought it over so we could start saving lives again. So I can tell you that his motivation was he saw a need, and he decided to help.
Yeah, there's a huge need here in the U.S. to lean these people off of the opioids and get all these side effects and get them blown off and
there's
just
no
take
side
them
effects
away.
with this medication.
We have no known side effects there. Maybe a slight rush at the injection site or something like that. But more than that, no, we haven't had these experiences.
Wow.
Yeah,
so you think this could be the answer to the opioid crisis?
We're talking about a natural product that is plant and mineral based. And if you look back in history, just think about if you go back 500 years, we haven't been treating and putting chemicals in our body that the whole pharmaceutical industry is nowadays trying to do. We had natural remedies that were used, and people were getting not as much sick as we're getting today.
Right.
So there is a reason for that. And so it's just like another or different source, in my eyes, a better source. Go natural first, and only if that doesn't work, look at something different.
That's what I was going to say as well, just because not only the natural first, but you are always going to have a side effect. And many of them are extremely dangerous to your body when you're taking medications. So if you try the natural solution first and it works, wonderful. If it doesn't, the other solutions did not go away. They're still there.
And there's a legal reason. As a lawyer, a doctor has to use the least damning product before he steps up to the next. If he doesn't, he is in this milieu looking at legal liability, because there are people who are being indicted today for manslaughter for overprescribing opioids.
So you're saying a doctor would have to prescribe this first before he prescribes an opioid?
We have enough doctors in the United States that we believe, or at least I believe as an attorney, that we have changed the standard of care.
Wow.
And it is my goal to use that because the standard of care is going to be best serving the patient base of America.
Were you telling me about a lawsuit that's going on right now about opioid
there is a major
overprescription?
Yes, there is a major lawsuit that has been filed that is suing both the manufacturers and the distributors of opioids for failure to have offered less damning solutions. So my theory, I happen to be borne out because there's a lawsuit. I was a defense attorney, but the plaintiffs bar, they're very smart, and in this instance, they are 100% right. There are other solutions that are in the market that doctors need to look at to help their patients. And in reality, doctors want now to look at it because they don't want the regulatory liability that's arising from the change.
So you're a lawyer, so if a doctor prescribes an opioid and doesn't prescribe this first,
it might be an issue.
Okay.
My suggestion is this. We, as the master distributor of Tramiel, don't give legal opinions to doctors. But my suggestion is that every doctor who's out there in the listening audience needs to talk to their attorney in light of what has occurred, in light of what the president did. If you're in Florida in light of the July 1st, what are you going to prescribe as a solution to the pain of the patient, and in what order? Because every doctor doesn't give you back surgery the moment you have a herniated disc. They look at something less damning, less invasive, less costly first. Well, the same applies to prescriptions. And so they need to look. Whether it will create liability or not will be on an individual case basis. It's all factually case-by-case basis. But I assure you, you don't want to be the doctor who's worrying every night, waking up, did I do something wrong? You need to go talk to your attorney and find out.
Okay.
And one other thing. So when you have patients that are looking for solutions to pain, I do lectures all over the country. I'm home about 5 days per month. I'm lecturing. And I'm lecturing a lot of times to patients. And one of the frequent questions I ask them is, how many of you would like to have an alternative to pain as far as what the solution is that you're being given by your doctor than a drug? How many of you would rather not take drugs? And 80% of the audience. So our public actually wants it.
Right.
They just don't know there's any other option, and doc gives it to them. If the doc even just gave them the option, a natural solution or the medication, that would be at least a step up for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Now, is this back clinics, doctors that see only back patients, is this something that could be used?
This applies to any doctor of any kind who writes a prescription
for pain.
For pain.
Wow.
So you name the kind of doctor, from a podiatrist to a neurologist, orthopedic surgeon, plastic surgeon. We're in Boca. There are a lot of plastic surgeons.
A lot of my buddies.
I don't need it, thank you, but
a lot of my friends are plastic surgeons. Okay, so this can be prescribed for pain after surgery.
It can be. There are no studies for pain after surgery, but it is permitted. And just so we know, because we all love pets, it can be used on pets.
Animals.
400 million people, 400 million pets can be saved here, folks.
Wow.
Veterinarians can prescribe this for their dogs and cats. Absolutely. And it does work.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It is. It's amazing. So get it for yourself and get it for your pet. Be happy together.
So people can ask their doctor for this medication?
They can.
Okay.
And then they just tell them to go to medicusllc.com, and the doctor can order from us online. We just do the background check, and once we confirm all the licensure, they can order.
And the dosing, I guess, is all in the...
And if they have any we have a lot of the protocols on the website. And if they have any questions, they can call Jonathan or I. And if we need one of our specialists for a type of condition that's not covered in the protocols on the website, we have doctors who can consult with the other doctors, or vets who can consult with the vets. We have it all.
And you said this can be used on children too, right?
Above 2, yes, ma'am.
Wow. Okay. So it's
so imagine this. There's not a parent in the world. You told us you had a son.
2 sons.
2 sons. Mm-hmm. So when they had a sports injury, if you went to the pediatrician, do you think you want to give your kid any form of narcotic?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Do you really want to give them something that can screw up their liver? Absolutely not. Well, now, if you're a pediatrician, raise your hand. I'm the doctor in Boca Raton, Florida. If you have a sports injury, come to me.
Wow.
Because I have a solution. Mm-hmm. And then the doctor has an opportunity to go out to all the trainers, sports trainers out there, and create new business for himself, because he can give a lecture series. So part of the thing that we're going to be doing for doctors is, if you work with Jonathan and Dr. Brandt, then we help you help yourself by teaching you how to market to get patients in the door.
To get patients that want that product. Interesting. So...
And I want to add here,
go ahead.
There's a lot of athletes, professional athletes, that are actually
they don't
on
want
a
opioids.
Permanent treatment with that. I mean, we have a huge number of MLB players that are getting on a regular basis the shots. We have Olympic teams that are on there. The product is completely cleared by the doping agency, etc. So there is no harm there. We have a lot of patients for trigger joint pain, a lot of patients for OA, fibromyalgia. This is a product that has a lot of ways it can help.
So any type of pain?
Any type of pain, yeah.
That's amazing. And but it's not out there on the market.
Oh no, it's on the market.
It's on the market. It's just
we have doctors in 45 states. Well, no, there are people who know about it, but our goal is to sort of proselytize. Yeah. Right? There are solutions, and the opportunity to proselytize came with what the president did in May, and what the legislature in Florida and around the country are doing. Doctors, you got to find another solution. Drug distributors, we really don't want this. What's out there? Well, now we're taking the platform that's been given to us by the politicians and saying, by the way, we've been here. Y'all need to jump on board.
Jonathan. Okay, you're marketing this product in the U.S. now.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, Medicus is the master distributor.
Okay.
And there are others that are starting to market it too. But
Okay.
we're the main guys, and we're basically trying to educate all the physicians.
I was going to say,
and
how are
all-
you getting to the doctors?
Well, you know what? It's knocking on doors, basically, like every other rep does or every other consulting
Right,
company
okay.
does there. We're not different there than anybody else in this market. And that's we're growing basically doctor, physician by physician, or clinic by clinic. That's how we do it.
Okay, do doctors have an economic incentive to prescribe an opioid over your product?
Well, I mean, opioids in general, they make more money on that one.
How do they make money on the opioids?
Oh, well, it's very simple. They get the pharmaceutical industry is often hiring the doctors to give us a speech in a seminar, etc. And I call this a little bit like kickbacks to the doctors.
Right.
So they unofficially paying them, but it is a legal way to do it.
Okay.
But and plus the whole pharmaceutical agents, when they come to the doctor, they have an endless marketing budget. So they can treat
Right.
the doctors and spoil them. What we can do, we get with a product that is way less expensive. We just don't have these funds to ourselves that we can compete in that way with the big pharmaceutical guys. So of course, knowing a doctor that doesn't at this point hasn't prescribed it yet, it's a tough sale at the beginning to get him away from prescribing an opioid and going to the natural product. But here's the thing. He's gaining so much more. He's gaining to get, instead of just writing a prescription and handing it out to the patient, he's gaining that one-on-one with his patient again. The patient is coming in to see him. He's doing the injection. He has more hands-on with the patient. He's in a better picture of evaluation, what's going on there. Plus, all these procedures like giving an injection, well, that's billable. Writing a prescription, well, you don't make money on that one. But giving the injection, etc., that's where you make the money.
Okay.
There's another big opportunity for doctors. Workers' comp around the country generally pays 30 to 40% more for the same procedure than health insurance does.
To the doctor.
To the doctor.
Okay.
Workers' comp, the number one cost driver is comp. If you're a doctor in Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and you want to increase your practice, you now have the opportunity to stand up and say, I have a solution for the work comp industry in my area.
Which would be
Which not only
good
gets
for
you
the employers.
good for the employers, but at the same time, it gets doctors, patients, not only for the Tramiel Zeal, but because he's come up with a solution and raised his hand, he's going to get other business from the work comp. So it's an opportunity to get business in a higher paying area by using our product, because it solves a problem that is a big problem in workers' comp around the country.
Okay. You said they need 3 injections initially? Is that,
Yes,
are they spaced?
Approximately 10 days apart in the first month, and after
Okay.
that, it's an injection once every 3 to 6 months.
So
after
the effect lasts 3 months?
Yes,
Wow.
it does. When you combine 2 of our drugs, and are you ready for this? So a month prescription in California, which we want to go to the highest place, for opioids is about $600.
Okay.
Okay? A month's prescription for us with the 3 shots is $63.
Oh my goodness. So you would be saving all these companies workers'
A
comp
lot
costs.
of money.
A lot of money. Okay.
But in South Florida, Jonathan said something that's really important. South Florida, you have a population that is a little older, which means you have a lot more of osteoarthritis. Well,
Works for that too?
Oh, it does.
Oh, boy.
OA is a big solution. We're a big solution. Reduces inflammation in the pain. So there are so many reasons doctors will want to do this. Going back to one other area where their doctors are making money on the opioid crisis that we can get rid of and help the whole industry is when you're on opioids and NSAIDs, you must, by protocol, get a liver test every 3 months or so. Which means there's 2 costs. 1, you go into the doctor for the visit to get the liver test, and 2, they have to do the liver test. Okay? So we can reduce the overall cost to America just by those two procedures on tens of millions of people.
Okay, that's
by not
amazing.
using it. So the key is we're not just helping an individual by changing to alternative medicine, natural products. We can actually lower the overall cost to the country. And imagine what we could do to the economy if we had trillions of extra dollars that has not been spent this way, that would not go to the insurance industry or to the pharmaceutical industry, but would stay in the pockets of real Americans.
Okay, so you're talking about for Medicare also.
Yes.
This could.
Well, yeah, the injection will be paid for. Absolutely.
Wow. Fantastic. Okay, we're gonna go to break here in a minute, and after the break, we're gonna talk about stem cells, I believe, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's
This
right.
is really amazing, and I guess if doctors, you have a website.
Yeah, the website is www.medicusllc.com, medicusllc.com.
Now we're going to talk about stem cells. So first, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I got really interested in holistic medicine from the very start of my career in 1993. Always looking for a solution that was a better solution. And about 5 years ago, my father, who's also a physician, he was having difficulty getting up and down.
Okay.
And we did a few medical procedures that were kind of natural. It's like a jelly. It's called chondroitin sulfate, and there's different names for it. Rooster tail and Sioux parts are some of these names, but it does aid the person in getting kind of like a disc back in the knee, but it doesn't last permanently.
Okay.
And so usually it takes 2 or 3 injections over the course of a year or two, and then it stops working altogether. So he had gotten to that point.
Okay.
So I realized that there had to be a better solution and started really looking into it. He's an athlete. I really wanted him to have his quality of life back. And he's a tough guy, so he never really told me. I had to notice it. And as I started to query, well, are you riding your bike anymore? No, I can't bend my knee up. Oh, are you jogging anymore? No, I'm not doing that. We had so many no's, and I was in shock that I had missed all these things. But I found a solution in Germany where we could go and take his stem cells out and grow them. So a couple things that I knew and why I didn't really pursue it in the United States was we can't take them out of our own body and grow them. It's not legal. We can't grow them. We can't take them out and grow them. We can't put them back in after they're grown. So, and we can't add anything to them. And even though stem cells have a lot of great potential, they need all the building blocks. Like if you look at a seed that goes in a garden, if you just put that seed in the air, nothing's going to happen. Well, stem cells very similar. It needs dirt, it needs water, it needs air, it needs sunlight, and those aren't the true things that it needs, but it needs things, and we'll get into those. So I kind of knew that it wasn't maybe the best solution to do what we could do in the United States, and so we decided to go to Germany and spend $50,000 to have the procedures done for him.
Wow.
And I continued my research, and I found out that we could get all those wonderful things that I can't find in my own body when it's taken out of me by using the placenta of a baby. So the thing, the sac that wraps around the baby, not the baby itself, the amniotic sac.
And you get this from women after
so
childbirth.
what has to happen, it's completely regulated by the FDA and the American Association of Tissue Banks. And there's a protocol. There's a lot of testing protocols. There's safety protocols while it's happening. And the baby has to be born healthy. Has to be healthy or the placenta is not used.
Okay.
But that placenta itself is full of not only stem cells, but it's full of all the other things that the body needs to grow. You could think why, because it's growing a baby. That's the garden, right?
Wow.
So all the things that you need are right there. And these are there's over 3.
And how do you get, just out of curiosity, do you buy these from women, or the women
No.
they're
This is not me.
I know, but
this is what I found. So there's actual companies that are regulated by the FDA who can take this placenta and pull all the great stuff out of it and put it into an injectable.
Wow.
And as I looked at that, I thought, well, this is way better because it's got all the garden. Like I said, there's 3,000 different proteins that it has. All of them have anti-inflammatory and healing effects. Some of them we don't even know what they do, but the ones that we do, we know that they're wonderful and they're beneficial. It has that jelly-like substance I was talking about, hyaluronic acid. It lubricates the joints, and then stem cells.
Okay.
So, and these are young stem cells. So the other thing that I
Right.
tell people about stem cells is, as you get older, their ability to reproduce goes down. And at the age of 70, you're going to have basically 1/100th of the number of stem cells you had when you're 20. So you're talking hundreds of millions less. And not only are there less, but they don't like to replicate. They don't like to do things. So that's called a process called senescence. So we get old cells that don't want to replicate, and there's not a lot of them out of an older person. And it starts at really 40. It starts to decline significantly. By 60, it's too much, in my opinion, and 70 for sure. So
Okay.
this younger solution with the young stem cells.
Very young.
And, yeah, the youngest there
Right.
is. So the most prolific, that means they make more quickly. So we went to our clinic in Atlanta. We did the injection. It was 2 days before we were supposed to leave for Germany. And on the flight home, less than a few hours, he was jumping up and down on the plane.
Oh, you're kidding.
So it was amazing, and I couldn't believe it. I expected something,
Wow.
but it was so dramatic that he canceled the doctor's visit and the whole 7 days of treatment and got a $50,000 refund. And we walked around Germany for 7 days, and it was off of one injection.
Oh, wow.
So at this point, that's kind of how I entered this
That's how
area,
you found-
and then
okay, that's how you
I went on the road and started lecturing all over the country, and now we have about 650 clinics that we work with to make sure that they have the best products available.
So there are all different levels of stem cells, is what you're saying.
There are different
Stem cell
sources,
products.
and
Okay.
then even if you hear of, like, I'll mention a few sources today, but there's different companies that have entered this market. Some just because it's financially remunerative, and they don't have a very great product.
And where do they get their stem cells from?
They get them from the same place, but how they manufacture and the percentage that they put in is not regulated. Well, the manufacturing process is, but the percent that they give isn't. So
wow.
you could think that you're getting the same product from one distributor compared to another that's 1/100th of the percentage.
You mean like you
So-
mean a
so
totally
when
watered
people-
down product?
Yeah, so when people tell me
Oh,
it didn't
wow.
work, I automatically know to ask this first question: which product was used? 9 times out of 10, the patient doesn't know. I haven't
Right,
tracked it.
I wouldn't even ask.
I give them a list of here's the ones I suspect it is, and almost 100% of the time, 99.9% of the time, it's one of those products. So that's when I met Jonathan, like I said, 4 years ago, and he took on the Tramiel thing. I knew that he wanted to make a difference. So one of the things that I do for him is, and my team of medical researchers, medical doctors and researchers, is to find the best product and evaluate that percentage and make sure it's the highest potency possible. And those are the
Are
products that he
doctors
has.
aware that they're buying product with
They
low potency?
really aren't. Their
No.
sales. They're so used to salespeople, and the salespeople come in and tell them what they tell them. Tell them it's the best. Tell them it's the most concentrated. Those salespeople don't know the other products, so they feel very confident what they're saying is true.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that's how they're introduced. Whoever the first salesperson hits their door is, and the
Right.
ones that have the more profitability, guess what? They
I was
have
going to
more
ask you
money
about
to
that.
spend.
Is there
So-
a difference in price of different
Well,
brands?
So yeah, so what they can do is if they decrease the concentration, that means
make more of it.
they can make 1,000 more than I make. Let's say at a different at a higher percentage. So when I sell it at the same price as this guy, I'm making 1,000 times more money than this guy. So I can spend all of that in marketing. That is,
Yeah.
by the way, the same thing as a drug company. They do have the research, but the actual manufacturing cost of that drug is peanuts. But they make their money because A, the research, or they're the only one who can do it.
right.
So that tactic is used by now some drug companies that have entered this game that are financially based. And the first people in this game, because it's been around for what you don't know, and Jonathan knows, is that it's been around for 20 years. This option has been around for 20 years. But until myself and a few other pioneers decided to take the message to the patients, because doctors weren't understanding it, but when patients start to demand it,
Right.
then doctors start to jump on the bandwagon. And that's fine with me. I just want them to have the best.
Yeah. Oh, as a patient, I would definitely want to have
Absolutely.
a product that was much stronger. And so the patients don't even know
That's
usually
right.
what
They're gonna
what
pay the
product.
same
They're just getting
price.
stem cells.
That's right.
And the patient is charged the same, or the insurance company is charged
Usually-
the same, depending.
Usually they're
So
charged
the
the same.
profit is for Who makes the profit then if you use the
Well,
cheaper?
the drug company or the manufacturer makes a lot of profit, and then the doctor makes the same profit. They wouldn't make any more. They're going to pay the same, so their profit's the same. They just don't know that there's a better product out there.
There's no reason for them not to use
They don't
the better
really
product.
know. It's
Right.
I don't blame the doctors in any way. I'm just glad that they're even entering this foray instead of trying to just give drugs.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have the ability to find out that there's better drugs, better stem cells, better options. That's our job.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan makes sure that we have the absolute best, or demands it of me, or demands it of Max. Whoever works for him, he wants the best.
Yeah.
So I think it's part of, he is German. I think part of this German mentality, he's raised with Mercedes. He's raised with the best. He's
He
the
likes the
best
best.
engineers.
Quality.
Well, they
Quality.
are, and I see it in him every
I'm German,
day.
Jonathan.
Yeah. So me too. So, but the demand for the highest quality, that precision German engineering, he's proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
There's Mercedes all over his house. He's proud of that. His son is at the Mercedes Engineer School. He's proud of that, and he demands that of this company. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that doctors can trust the fact that when they go to him to find a product, whatever one we're talking about, it's the best that's on the market.
So we just have to educate the doctors then that there's a difference in
And the
in
patients just
product.
have them demand it.
Right.
Hey, how do you
That's
know
why
this
a
is the
lot of
best?
advertising on TV is directed directly at the patient to go and ask the doctor for
That's
the
right.
product.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
And what are the different applications for the stem cell treatment?
Well, so far reaching. We have the FDA still to contend with. So their viewpoint on treating conditions with stem cells is not clearly defined yet. They have taken a stance that they don't want us to make claims that aren't proven.
Okay.
Well, if you go and look at research on stem cells and you look up any condition, whether it's digestive, neurologic, Alzheimer's,
It works on Alzheimer's?
whatever one you look at, if you just go on government.gov and type it in, you will find hundreds, if not thousands, of research studies that have been done in this country, but a lot of them in Japan and Germany and overseas. The people that are of different nationalities don't have better success rates than Americans. So if
Okay.
it's true there, it's true.
Right.
And so the far-reaching effects of stem cells is better understood by knowing how they work. So a stem cell goes in, and when it sees an area that it is inflamed, usually what happens is there's a protein called a cytokine, and that's again one of those proteins that's in the amniotic tissue. But if you just get adult stem cells, you don't also
get it.
get this.
Okay.
So this is like it's like a magnet for the stem cell. But what it does is it targets and seeks out any area of inflammation. So if your nerve is inflamed, it's going to attach to an inflamed nerve. If your cartilage is inflamed, it's going to attach to that cartilage. If the bone's inflamed, whatever area or tissue is inflamed, it's going to attach. And as soon as it does, it starts to chemically signal. That's just like a loudspeaker saying to all stem cells, hey, come over here, I need your help. And this process is called chemotaxis, but that's exactly what it is. It's just chemically signaling, telling signals stem cells to come.
Okay.
So they'll come and attach to whatever is on the surface of that and become that material. So if you have a joint that has 3 areas of problems, cartilage, bone, and nerve, it'll attach to all of those and call them over.
Wow.
But if on the other hand, there's no nerve involvement, it's just cartilage, it'll just attach to cartilage. So it's literally a smart bomb, but
Yeah.
only if you have the proteins. So understand that if you just put stem cells in, they would stay in that joint for about a minute, maybe 10 minutes. And if we took a picture after 10 minutes, they'd all be gone. So whatever kind of attach quickly, and then the rest will float away. Whereas if we use the amniotic tissue, the cytokines, we can take that picture an hour from now, and they're all just sitting in there. Lovely.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's really important to know that. And a
Okay.
lot of doctors that even do some of the adult stem cell work don't know all that, or because they're not allowed to add it, just don't talk about it.
Wow. Okay, so you use it obviously knees, joints. What about cosmetic surgery, cosmetic applications?
So
That's big in Boca Raton.
I'm going to tell you. So there is a stem cell documentary that's out there called The Healing Miracle. In that, you'll see some of the top doctors in the country who have been interviewed. 3 of them are plastic surgeons. One is Dr. Mark Berman from Beverly Hills.
Okay.
One is Dr. Cohen from San Diego. And the other one, and a personal friend of mine who works on all of my family, is Dr. Andrew Kornstein. And he's out of New York.
Okay.
And what they can do is they can use stem cells and do needle surgery, so no scalpel, and they can achieve the same results without any of the look of plastic surgery. You know, whether you call it the tight
You do a
look
facelift
or
with stem
whatever.
cells?
The facelift is, if you go on their websites, and you'll see that they literally have 20 years this progressed and they look the same. So the
So
thing
that
is,
you inject this into the face?
yeah, what people don't understand, it's not really your skin that
All right,
breaks
I'm
down
listening
first.
now.
It's your bone. It's your bone that breaks down first.
Okay.
And as that breaks down, that starts to cause the skin changes.
Yes.
And then we get the dehydration, all
I've
that.
heard of
So
that.
stem cell does the opposite. It's like a house.
It
with
can repair decaying bone in the
just
face?
look at it this way. You know how we all have this in Florida, termites. Mm-hmm. So termites are in the house, and the house still looks beautiful. But at some point, the house goes
Yes.
in. Same thing with our face. The bone
Right.
has termites, if
Deteriorates.
you will, and the stem cells go in and fix all that and put the filler back in. So stem cells work
By
across
injecting
the
it
board.
into the bone?
That's right. So you can have the option. You tell me what you would prefer. Now, you can have this surgery done where they take the stem cells out of your body, or you just buy these stem cells. So
I want the baby stem cells.
yeah, you want the young stem cells. Who wants the
Yeah,
old
I
stem?
want my old stuff.
So it's just a wonderful thing. So we have all these products.
That is
And depending on the
amazing.
application, we have a different product. So I like to just kind of go over so your audience really knows that a stem cell isn't a stem cell. And what I mean by that is everyone's going to call all of these stem cell, but
Okay.
they're all different and have different reasons. So the first one is called amniotic tissue.
Okay.
Okay, and the doctor's probably going to call it stem cell, but it's amniotic tissue. And amniotic tissue has tons of cytokines, tons of those healing proteins I was telling you about, and tons of the hyaluronic acid, and some stem cells. Okay, so we use those in joints always. Then the next product comes from the cord itself. It's called Wharton's jelly, and this is, by research, the most highly prolific and best mesenchymal stem cells. The mesenchymal stem cells are the kind that make the body regenerate.
Okay.
There's other ones that come from blood called hemopoietic stem cells, but they make more blood, so they're not really for joints. So bone marrow makes blood. So bone marrow for joints maybe is not the best solution, and obviously you still want the young ones anyhow. So we use the Wharton Jelly's MSC to go into joints with the amniotic tissue. It's a double injection. Some doctors do both of those, but it's really expensive that way, so most don't. They pick one or the other. Medicus and Jonathan were the
Okay.
first to say to me, hey, why don't we have one that has everything combined? And I went, well, you know what? That's a wonderful look. Why don't we have that?
Yeah.
So we went back to the labs and said, listen, we want this product. Well, we're going to have some FDA issues. Well, figure out how to make it happen, because this is what the public needs. This is one and done.
Why would there be FDA issues to do that?
It's just on how you manufacture and how you combine things.
Okay.
And that will be way too much of a conversation for
Okay.
us. It's this
Okay.
thick. Max would know. You know, when you deal with the government, it's
a lawyer
never.
back
It took
never
6 months longer than we thought to get all the approvals.
Yeah. So you know, it's never one page. So
Right.
and it's not really worthwhile because we did it, and we did it legally. So so the only product on the market that has both put in together is at Medicus LLC. So that's exciting.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
It is.
And let
Okay.
me tell you
Go
something
ahead.
Brant has done that is going to help doctors themselves.
Okay.
Most doctors only get pay cash for stem cell treatment. Brant has all these doctors, and he and I have working together. We can get workers' comp to
Okay.
pay for stem cell treatment, which is unbelievable
Yeah.
because we have an insurance carrier that is paying for stem cell treatment. Jonathan is blessed because of Brant that there are carriers, health insurance carriers, that now will reimburse for stem cell treatment thanks to these two
But
brilliant guys.
only if they're using
Wow.
the Medicus product,
Right.
Because that's the only ones that we've proven to be effective.
So for doctors in America, I'm an MGA in insurance in addition to being a lawyer.
Okay.
You have the opportunity to learn how to get health insurance to pay for stem cells and to get workers' comp. We are actually working right now with a new group that is putting together a self-funded health program to offer to businesses in America that will include payment of stem cell treatment based on protocols that are being written by the two geniuses on the other side.
Wow. That's pretty impressive, gentlemen.
It is. and I just want to cover these other products so everyone knows, because
Okay.
the next one scares me a bit and always has. And Dr. Beams, who is our medical director, he's a pathologist by trade. He's been doing regenerative medicine for 20 years. He was the first one to call us on it because so many people caught this bandwagon called cord blood. Cord blood is also just actually what it says. It's blood, and there's cells in there. and people buy these in units usually of about 30 million cells. Of that, 1 to 3% are actually mesenchymal stem cells.
Okay.
So the patients and the doctors are being told, these have 30 million. That guy down there only has 1 million. Well, out of 30 million, if it's 1%, that's only 30,000 stem cells. And if it's 3%, that's only 90,000 stem cells. The rest are just other cells.
Okay.
They could be skin cells, they could be blood cells, they're just cells. But the patients don't know that there's a differentiation. So in our product, there's 1 million mesenchymal stem cells, the best kind for the body, in each cc. Well, that's an unbelievable number. So it's 10 to 1. Remember I told you that 10 to 1 thing? Well, even though they say 30 million, his is 10 to 1 to theirs for what the patient's actually looking for. And last but not least, what Dr. Beam suspected could happen did. Just recently, the FDA closed the largest cord blood manufacturer down because they had E. coli in their product, and they infected many patients. Some of my own clients who didn't listen to me when Dr. Beam said, we're not going to recommend cord blood at all. We're going to stay away from it completely. We got off the phone last night with 3 of my California doctors who have one patient who's still in the hospital. One of our own doctors was so frustrated with these complaints and saying it wasn't true, it couldn't be the product, that he injected himself. He didn't actually do it. He had someone inject the product, and the next day his knee blew up. It's been 3 weeks, and he's still walking on a cane.
Oh.
So they went to that manufacturer and said, we are out. And they called me yesterday and said, look, we're going to go back to your product. We should listen to you the first time. So I want to be able to make sure that we help doctors understand, and patients, because they could be the recipient of that not so great product. The largest distributors of cord blood, as far as doctors go, was Florida and California. So many patients in this state may have already had that type of treatment. And if you're considering it and that your doctor's using it, I can tell you that we're on the phone with these distributors who were distributing cord blood who now want to use his product, and they're scrambling because so many people are complaining. So it's important that people understand that
that there's a difference.
Well, blood, that you're not just getting, you have the potential to get someone else's DNA. You have the potential to get other things as well. And obviously, that is a test that should have been done. The lab skipped doing the test, and that's what you do when you deal with the lab that cuts corners. You could get other problems. You could get other...
So they could have tested to see if there was E. coli.
It's a law, they have to. Now, the FDA is going to probably close this company down. But the thing is that the doctors don't know. It cost me $20,000 to evaluate a lab, a company that makes a product. Well, no doctor's going to be able to do that, so they're going to take the word of the person that comes in their office that is nice to them and tells them all the things they want to hear. And they can, because they're not putting it in writing. My first statement to any doctor that's looking, or patient, I want to see it in writing. I want to see it on the letterhead of the company. If they can't produce that, it's not true.
Right.
And that's the point.
Wow.
Okay?
Okay, again, so if anyone wants to ask for your product, they just tell the doctor that they want
MedicusLLC.com. Yeah, just go to the website.
Correct.
And any doctor can get this product.
Yeah, after we verified him, all credentials, etc., that he can actually buy it. Yeah, correct.
Wow. That's
it's really
amazing.
exciting. So let me just tell you, because of my network, we get thousands of success stories every single month, thousands. We have so many on our website and on our materials, we can't add them anymore. I have a loop of testimonial videos that I give to my doctors to play in the waiting room. It could be 50 hours long. It's just that we have so many testimonials. And yes, it doesn't work 100% of the time. Nothing does. And there's no guarantees. No doctor is allowed to give you a guarantee. But I can tell you just from what I watch overall, because we see so many doctors doing this and we hear back, we have about 80% of patients feel a very good response, if not a complete seizure of pain in the first treatment.
Wow.
And if they don't experience that, if they get a second injection, we drop down to about only 5% who don't get a result. Well, you don't see that in medicine. No. And again, kind of like the Tramiel and Zeal, unless you're dealing with an inferior product or company that doesn't do the right testing, until this date, until that just happened, there was 0 serious adverse side effects in over 500,000 injections. And still we can claim that if we say amniotic or Wharton's jelly.
And there's a famous attorney doctor in America who has had a lawsuit. And in that lawsuit, he was able to get at trial, and he's before one of the state Supreme Courts, where future medical care included the cost of stem cell treatment. So if you have a plaintiff's case and you are a plaintiff's attorney If you call us, we'll introduce you to the genius who figured out how to do that in law.
Okay.
And he can help you in your cases and can help your patients.
Interesting. So this, explain that again.
So what happens when you have a personal injury case?
Okay.
One of the elements of damages that you sue for are what are my medical expenses going to be in the future?
In the future because of that. Okay.
Reasonable, right?
Yes.
So this attorney, who happens to be an attorney and a doctor, came up with the brilliance to say, because he's looking at avant-garde things, how can I help a patient in the future? Well, they're stem cells. Stem cell treatment, the right kind of stem cell treatment.
It's added
so he
into
went
the judgment.
Right.
To the judgment. So they have to, okay.
Right.
So they have to
They
pay
get paid
for
for
it.
it.
And let's be honest, from the plaintiff's attorney's perspective, it increased the value of the judgment, which increased the attorney fee that the plaintiff's attorney got. This attorney, I know, is one of the smartest attorneys I've ever met. I had a case against him. His first case as an attorney and a doctor, he kicked my butt. Like, kicked my butt.
Okay.
And this guy is a genius. So if you want to figure out how to do this in America, I know the guy who's the smartest attorney doctor in the United States.
Okay, so you can just message me on Becky and Boca Show Facebook, and I'll put you in touch. Okay, anything else? We have a few minutes left. Anything else? Any other applications for the stem cells?
Jonathan, you want to go over a few things. I mean, I know that there's more than one reason why you got into this field. And I know that you also have some amazing things that you're doing with cancer. We probably can't talk about that right now. But you've seen the videos. You've seen. Why don't you share a little bit? I'd love the audience to hear from you a little bit.
Well, I mean, I briefly can discuss here. We do have other products available. One is a veterinarian product that was actually by the USDA already approved, and we are treating for as an immunomodulator or a biological response modifier. And the indication was for the treatment of lower respiratory disease in horses. And a lot of veterinarians, after they realized what's going on there, also started using it off-label, and they used it for very different things, for chronic diseases, for cancer, etc., with a huge success rate. And this same product, or I should say, the active ingredient in that product is in a human product that is going through FDA approval right now. It is already approved in Mexico. And we can treat patients in Mexico for any kind of chronic disease, autoimmune diseases, and with a very huge success rate. And it's a biological product. And this is what Medicus does. We are looking at natural and biological products. We don't want to have chemistry in there. We don't want to have the big pharmaceutical stuff in that makes us more sick or has more side effects than it actually does good. And what is very important on that product, and it's called Infebrium, is that it actually addresses the innate and the adaptive immune system and allows your immune system to recognize bad cells, like, for example, a cancer cell.
Oh,
and
that's
then
interesting.
attack that cancer cell, and so the body heals itself. And that's actually what it does. And it, on top of that, there is a memory cell that starts floating within your body, and in the future will always look for that specific target. If there is a cancer cell there, it will attack it and destroy it.
And this product is available now?
This product is not available in the US. It is available for treatment in Mexico, and as soon as we're here approved by the FDA, then it will be
a cure for cancer?
Well,
I know that's new.
I'll answer that. It's a cure for a weak immune system.
Okay.
And when you strengthen the immune system so that it can find and fight all foreign cells, you eliminate disease.
Correct.
That's what happens.
Wow.
That's just basic science.
And
Okay.
I don't want to use the word cure,
Yep.
because
Yeah, I know.
the word
just
cure
can't say it.
last
I've asked a
time
lot of doctors
the
that in this chair.
yeah, no, you can't say it. And plus, the last time cure was actually used was back about 65 years when penicillin came on the market and wiped out about 3,000 bacterial diseases. Our system is very funny. We have about 12,500 named diseases in this world,
Okay.
and 9 underlying causes for them, and they all go back to your immune system. So
Right.
why don't we address the immune system
Sure.
instead of pumping us full with chemistry or going through chemo and radiation and all that stuff when you can have another way that can help?
Okay, so this product you were talking about that's available only in Mexico now, is that something that it's being used to treat cancer, or is that something people can just take like a vitamin to make sure that?
No,
If they-
it's not. You cannot take it like a vitamin. It's an
Okay.
injection, but it's only subcutaneous, so under the skin. Very simple and very effective.
But someone can't
But
take
it
that
does
just
have to be prescribed.
Yeah, I was
It
going
has
to
to
say.
be- it
Okay,
has
but
to
can
be
it be
prescribed,
prescribed for
absolutely.
someone to inject themselves like monthly or something like that?
But
Okay, we got one
let's put it this way. President Trump opened with the Right to Treatment Act a lot of doors there. So if there is a patient that has tried everything already and it didn't work, we can treat under that Right to Treatment Act. Passionate waivers, etc. That will work, but other than that, we are not allowed to market,
Okay.
and we don't market in the U.S. It's just
But
like
it may be coming
right-
to the U.S. at some point.
It will.
Okay.
It definitely
Okay,
will.
we got to go. We're out of time here. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
It was
you.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
interesting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You have been watching and listening to The Becky and Boca Show. Tune in every Thursday night at 6 p.m. to discover all the ways to spoil yourself and have a good time in beautiful Boca Raton. See you next week.
Really,